everybody. So I know it has been a long time since I filmed a video. It's been about a little over 2 months. Anyways, as most of you know, I already had my baby. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook and everything, I had him. Well, we'll get into the details right now. I want to apologize for, you know, taking so long to film a video. It's just with a new baby, it's really hard, especially when you're home by yourself most of the time. So anyways, let's just jump into the video. I had my baby August 28th, the day after my birthday. Now on my birthday, the 27th, I had been having contractions for like a couple of days. Not anything strong, just like, you know, every 6 to 8 minutes I would feel a contraction, and it wasn't anything to like drop me to the floor or nothing like that. So I just stayed home. You know what, let me look at my calendar so I can give you guys accurate information. Let's go all the way to August. There we go. I went to the doctor the 26th and I was dilated to a 2. So what my doctor told me, since I had gestational diabetes, you know, throughout my pregnancy, I went in the 26th and he had told me that on the 29th, the morning of the 29th, if my water hadn't broken, if I hadn't went to the hospital for any reason, that the morning of the 29th at 5 a.m. to pack my stuff, head to the hospital, and they were going to do an induction. So now rewind back to the day of my birthday, the 27th. That whole day I was having contractions. They were getting a little bit stronger, but not too much. So like, it was my birthday, my family made me dinner and everything, and after that my stuff had been packed, baby stuff had been packed, and you know, I had everything ready to go, and the contractions, they were getting closer and closer, and they started hurting. So like I said, it still wasn't anything to drop me to my feet, but we were like, okay, it's, you know, we're gonna go to the hospital. It was around 12:30. We got to the hospital at 11. I stood there. Well, they checked me into my room and everything, and the nurse, she had came in and checked me, and I was still dilated to 2. Now this was 11 at night, so it was probably around 1 o'clock, and she had came and checked me again, and I still wasn't progressing, but the monitor did show that I was having contractions every 5 or 6 minutes, but I wasn't progressing any. So she had told me we're gonna go ahead and check your blood pressure. Since they had been checking my blood pressure throughout the whole time I was there, my pressure was a little high. So she called the doctor that was on call that night. My doctor wasn't there yet. She called the doctor on call, and he said that I was gonna go ahead and stay because my pressure was a little elevated. Okay, so I fell asleep. My husband was with me, and to be honest, I don't know what time in the morning this was, but the nurse came back in. The doctor came back in, and they basically gave me Pitocin at that point, and the Pitocin, it kicked in quite fast, and let me tell you, those contractions started hurting like heck. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, they hurt. They had me squirming in the bed and everything, and you know, just like you see in the movies, I was squeezing my husband's hand because they hurt. They really did hurt, and the only way I can explain it is really, really, really bad menstrual cramps. There's no other way I can explain it unless you've been through birth. You won't understand, and I'm not trying to scare anybody or anything, but this is just the truth, you know. Here, I'm not gonna lie to you guys and everything. So at this point my water hadn't broken at all, and my doctor was finally at the hospital and he checked me, and I still wasn't dilating like any further, even with the Pitocin. And I was still at a 2, my water hadn't broke, and the baby was still up high in my ribs. He hadn't dropped at all, and this is a day before my due date. The baby hadn't dropped at all, and well, he did drop some, but he didn't drop enough, you know, for them to break my water. So he didn't break my water. He just checked me, and the contractions just kept getting stronger and stronger, and I was just in pain, and they couldn't give me an epidural yet. So what she did, I don't remember the medicine that she put into my IV, but she put some medicine into the IV, and I swear as soon as that medicine hit the IV, like I just felt it take over my body. I felt literally like I was drunk, like I was out. I was like, just my words were slurring. I was slurring my words and everything, and my husband got this video on tape, and I was just saying the most ridiculous things. I swear I seen a horse made out of hamburgers. I'm not even like, I don't know what it was, but I liked it. It kind of eased the pain a little bit. So the nurse had came back and checked me, and my water hadn't broke, but when they did check me, my mucus plug had came out. It hadn't came out at home or anything, and it had came out then. And like I said, I was just basically in bed sleeping, you know, the most I could. But then the contractions felt like they were like coming non-stop. They just kept coming and coming. There was like, it kind of felt like there was no breaks in between them. Well, at least it felt like that to me. I wasn't paying attention to anything else. It just hurt really bad. And oh, and I skipped a whole part. I forgot. They put a catheter inside me because, you know, you need to go to the restroom, and that hurt so bad, so freaking bad. Like I couldn't move because any little movement would like, oh, it's, you know what, like I can't even explain it. It's just I would never want a catheter inside me again. So what ended up happening, it was around 11 o'clock. My doctor had came in, and oh my gosh, I'm so lost. It's been like 2 months since he's been born. So okay, before any of this, before my doctor came in for the last time, they sent an ultrasound tech to come in to see how big the baby was, since he wasn't dropping. They did the ultrasound and everything, and they had said the baby was around 9 pounds, and I was so scared at that point. I was like, oh my gosh, this baby is gonna be huge, and I was freaking out. So the ultrasound tech went away, and basically my doctor had came back in one last time, and he said, you know what, the baby's not dropping. I can't break your water because he hasn't dropped, you know, and it's showing that he's a big baby. So they didn't want to take any chances or anything, and I really did want to try to have him vaginally, but he said your best option is to have a C-section, especially since my pressure was still high, and you know, I didn't want to put the baby at risk at all. So, you know, we went ahead and did it. They were prepping everything. They were prepping the room, and I wasn't upset. I was kind of more relieved because I just wanted to make sure he was going to come out okay. And at that point the contractions really started hurting, but the only bad thing is I wasn't dilating at all, but they just were really hurting. And I remember the nurse coming in asking me before they were prepping the room and anything that if I wanted an epidural, and they were actually getting set up to get the anesthesiologist to come in and do it. But at that point my doctor came in and told me, you know, we're going to go ahead and do a C-section. So I was in pain, and it was still going to be about 45 minutes before I got into the surgical room. And I was just laying there. Finally they wheeled me out and everything, And when I got into the surgical room, they had me sit down and they were cleaning my back and everything because they had to put the anesthesia in, and it was gonna numb me from basically from the incision site down. So they had me lay on the table. Basically they put the anesthesia in, my body was numb. Finally everybody was around me, getting ready to deliver my baby. And my doctor, when he cut, I couldn't feel pain or anything. It wasn't no kind of pain at all, but it felt weird because my lower body was numb and I could actually feel when he cut. I just couldn't feel the pain. It's kind of like when you're really asleep and you you run your finger across it and you can feel the touch, but you can't, there wasn't any pain. That's the only way I can describe it. They were, tugging. He told me I was gonna feel tugging and stuff. That's all I felt was tugging, and it felt so weird because you could feel everything. It just didn't hurt. And since the baby was so high, they had to press on my ribs and push the baby down. And the doctor obviously was busy doing something else, so they had one of the surgical techs in there start pushing down. And I'm gonna tell you guys, it literally knocked the breath out of me because he had to push so hard and I couldn't breathe. I was laying, I was laying back and I was telling my brother, I can't breathe. My brother, why did I say my brother? I was telling my husband I couldn't breathe. And I just couldn't breathe because he was pushing so hard. And finally I could feel the last pulls and tugs, and I felt when they pulled the baby out, and when he started crying, just so much emotion came over me and I just let out all the tears. They weren't tears of sadness. I was just so happy and relieved, and it was the most amazing feeling in the world. I cannot describe it. Like I said, unless you've had a baby, it's the best feeling in the world, and I am so glad that I got to experience it. And even though I didn't deliver naturally, vaginally, that you get that same feeling no matter what. That feeling of my baby is finally here, And so my husband started snapping pictures and everything, and I took him away, cleaned him up. My husband got to cut the umbilical cord, and we got a lot of pictures and everything. And he wasn't a 9-pound baby. He was 7 pounds and 5 ounces and 18.5 inches long. So he was average. He wasn't big at all. And he looked just like his dad, and till this day he looks just like his dad. And he was born August 28th at 1:23 p.m. So after all of that happened, they sewed me back up, and I just remember waking up when they were done, stitching me and everything. And they took me to the recovery room. I was there for about an hour, and I was just so tired. I know I didn't go through pushing or anything like that, but just the contractions, going through surgery, it takes the energy completely out of you. And I was so tired, and finally they took me to my room, and my family started coming in and stuff, and I just had to apologize. I'm sorry guys, I'm so sleepy, I could not stay up. And I didn't even get to change his first diaper. My husband and my mom did. So I missed that, but I couldn't stay up. I was so tired. I fell asleep. And I did say hi to everybody that came, and I didn't actually get to hold the baby till I was in the room then. And I did try to breastfeed, and I couldn't. They gave me a nipple shield. The baby wouldn't latch. And that night at the hospital that I delivered, they actually allowed the baby to stay with you in the room. The only time they take him away is if they have to, when they did their little tests and everything, they would bring him right back. So I did get to sleep with him the night. My husband did have to leave. He didn't get to stay with me, and so it was really difficult for me to breastfeed because I couldn't, it took so long for me to sit up, because I was, you know, I had just had surgery and it hurt, and any little movement, like, it really hurt. So I had to have the baby really close to me. And throughout the night, what I did is, since there was bars on the side of the bed, I would just keep him with me on the bed, and I would just hold him really tight, and I would sit, like, I would sleep basically almost sitting up, because that was the easiest thing for me to do. And so yeah, that was basically my whole labor and delivery. The next day, the next morning, I woke up and they took him away because I had signed the papers because I wanted him circumcised. And I know this is going to be a controversial thing, but you know what, he's my baby. I did, you know, me and my husband made the decision to do it, and you know, everybody in this world is free to do what they want with their own children. It's not, you know, how can I say it, it's not something that people should bicker and fight about with each other, because it's your child. You know, you get to decide what you do with your child, and people might have different opinions, and that is fine. Like I said, everybody can do what they want with their own child. But I did have him circumcised, and I'm not gonna go into details about that, but he is perfectly fine. You know, everything is good. So that's that. I got released. I had the baby Thursday. No, I had him, yeah, I had him, I don't remember if it was Wednesday, Thursday. Anyways, I got released in 2 days. They took the bandages off of me and everything, and when I seen my scar for the first time, I wanted to cry, because it looked so, it didn't look ugly, to be honest. I didn't get staples, they were stitches, but it didn't look pretty, you know. Even though I was overweight before, it's not like I'm gonna walk around in a bikini, but still, these things make you self-conscious. You know, nobody wants to have a big scar, but you know what, it healed really good. It's still healing. I don't have any pain anymore, but the ride home was difficult. Every little turn, you know, any little bump, I had to hold on to my stomach, because it was painful. I went through major surgery, and you really don't know how much you use the muscles in your stomach until you have been cut open. And I remember the second day that I was home, they had gave me Vicodins, and I hadn't got my prescription yet, and I was in so much pain that I started crying. I was crying because it hurt so much. And for the first week, we slept on the couch because I couldn't get onto my bed. I mean, I could, it hurt though, but to get on and off to get the baby, I couldn't do it. So we slept on the couch because the couch is lower, and he slept in his bouncer, and that made life a lot easier the first week. And after the first 2 weeks, the pain went away. The incision site, even above it, was a little tender, but it wasn't so painful. But you know, recovering from a C-section is a lot harder than recovering from a natural vaginal birth, because it is major surgery. But I had help here with my husband and everything, and you know, everything's going good so far. He's developing, you know, the way he's supposed to. You know, I'll make another video going in depth about him. You know, that'll be another video on my channel. But we're doing good. We love having him here. I love just, you know, being with him. I love the fact that I can stay home with him. And you know, overall, it wasn't a bad experience. You know, becoming a parent is the most awesome thing that can happen to anybody. But you know, like I said, I did have surgery, so it was a little more difficult, but I wouldn't regret it. I wouldn't take it back for anything in the world. And yeah, if I left anything out, let me know and I can go more into detail, or you know, leave your comments and I can answer them or anything. But that's basically my labor and delivery story. Like I said, everybody's labor and delivery is different. Nobody's is the same as the other person, so you know, everybody have a different experience. You know, you're not necessarily gonna go through what I went through, but this is just my experience. And I'm glad that I could give you guys some information and update you guys finally on everything that was going on. I will show him at the end of the video. He's 10 weeks and a couple of days right now.